Hello, denizens of the internet. Welcome to my camera test. Well, I'm not really testing a new camera. I don't do that on my channel. I leave that to other people to test cameras, like my good friend Martin Halbron, who's got an absolutely brilliant camera testing YouTube channel. What I am doing is testing the firmware of my Lumix G9. You see, one of the Achilles heels of the Lumix Micro FourThirds line has been their autofocusing in video. Endless test footage has been shot since the introduction of the GH5 as to its ability to autofocus in video. In stills, the G9 is a beast in autofocusing, but in video, it has some of the same issues as the GH5 and the GH5S. And as Lumix owners, we would really love it if this could become a really good autofocusing vlogging experience, because it does everything else so bloody well. It would be nice. Now, most of the stuff that I do when I vlog is manual focus, and I'm used to manual focusing. It's not an issue, but it comes with the territory. And why not have the autofocusing fix? Now, right now, I'm using my 12-60 Leica lens. Great lens, nice silent motor for autofocusing. I'm in one area mode, but the Achilles heels of this camera, the G9, is that while I might be in focus, my background will be pulsing. So I'm going to stand still, and you tell me whether you can see whether it's pulsing. Certainly the dog thinks so. Right, Ivy? Okay, is it pulsing? Well, I can't tell until later, and I'm hoping, well, I know it does, usually, and I'm also going to be testing it on the tracking mode and also face detect. Ironically, face detect doesn't detect my face. I did this test when I upgraded the camera to the 1.3 firmware, and I tested it with a rock, and face detect worked better on the rock than on my face. So I have no idea what that says about me. Next, I'm going to be testing this with the tracking mode, and then I'm going to be using face detect. Then I'm also going to use these two lenses, my 20mm lens, which I love. Gorgeous lens. It wasn't very expensive at all. Beautiful results. Not so great autofocusing in video, so that's going to be my torture test. And over here is my 15-inch Leica lens, which works really well autofocusing in video. Well, at least it doesn't make the same noises this does. But again, I get the background pulsing with this lens also, and I don't think I should. So let's go through the three different autofocusing options with this lens, and then I'm going to put the 20 on, and then I'm going to put the 15 on, and then I'm going to do everything again with the 2.0 firmware update. Now, one of the things that, obviously we like to do is do the close-up product shot. Is it focusing? Now, is it focusing back on me? And now I'm coming close to the camera. This is the stupidest thing anybody does on the internet. Now I've got tracking on, and this is the 12-60mm lens. Is it working? Is it tracking me? More importantly, is the background pulsing? I'm going to move over to here. Does it still have me in frame? Face detect is on. First thing I'm going to do is ask you to see whether the background is pulsing or not. I'm just going to stay here for a bit. Am I still in focus? Now I'm going to walk over to here. Does it still have me in the picture? Now I am closer to the camera, off to the side. I'm turning around. Does it lose me? Am I in focus, or is the background in focus? Now I'm turning to the camera. Does it pick up my face? And now the torture test, the close-up torture test. Now I've got my 20mm lens on. I've got one area selected. Now, again, traditionally, this lens is not so good. Autofocusing on video makes a lot of noises, but it sounds to me like it's been dampened, maybe since the 1.3 firmware update. I never really tried this lens with the 1.3 firmware update. So I've got one area. So am I in focus? And is the background pulsing? Auto tracking is on. Now I changed the exposure. I'm a bad boy. I've got it set to 2.5, the f-stop, because I want the background to be more out of focus. I mean, I'm able to do that with this lens. Why not torture test it? So see if the tracking is following me. Is the background pulsing? I don't know. Finally, face detect. How's this working? So I better stand still. Now, here we go. If I'm going to go over here, it's always easier to see whether it's pulsing or not. Check the words on this poster over here. What a torture test I'm putting you folks through. Was it able to recognize that this is a box of nails and not my face? That's what I want to know. Maybe I can put it over here. Can it recognize the difference? Flashy things are around my face. Should move the mic. And finally, my 15mm Leica is also set to 2.5 because I can. This thing goes down to 1.7. If I remember correctly. So this is one area focus. Is it finding me? Keeping me in the middle? I know if I go off to the side, it'll focus on the background. Is the background pulsating? Not pulsating. Try the box of nails test. And we're going to be able to see just how fast these lenses focus. That's also a good test. That's one of the things that you learn, is that different Lumix lenses have different focusing capabilities in terms of their speed and also the distance that they focus to from for getting in close. Now, this thing looks like it's. I looked at the side flippy screen. I was trying not to. Now I've got tracking turned on. It's a little yellow dot on my face. Yes. So this is tracking. I don't think anyone's using the tracking feature, but let's check it with my 15mm 1.7 Leica lens. Very nice lens. Love it. Compact. Nice and wide. Last one, face detect. I've turned on face detect. I can see all the little boxes shimmering around my face. I'll just stand here for the moment. See, number one, whether it's focusing on me, and number two, whether the background is pulsing. Am I still in focus? And if I turn around, what goes in or out of focus? Does the background automatically go into focus while I've turned my back on the camera? Does it find me? Does it find this box of nails? I've also been told that the system works better without glasses than with glasses. Well, I'll just try that with this one lens. I'm not going to do this with all three lenses. Hello, Moto. That's it for firmware 1.3. Now I'm going to switch over to firmware 2.0. Here we go, folks, the final torture test. Firmware 2.0 is on this camera now. We have suffered through many firmware updates, each one promising a better autofocus experience. Is this finally it? Is the 2.0 firmware update ready for prime time? Okay. Let's test this sucker. How we doing? So this is my 12 to 60, of course, zoom lens, and I'm in the center because that's where the autofocus is. Well, I'm gonna move myself off to the side here. There we go. Now I've autofocused myself there. How's the background? Is it pulsing? Oh, I'm over here. Yes, okay. Am I in focus? Now you don't see me. Now you do. It looks like it's tracking. How you doing? Okay, so I'm over here. Oh, the things I do for my fans. Is tracking keeping me in focus? Is tracking going to be of any use to vlogging? I've got it on face, body, animal, eye, toe detector. This is where all your research into artificial intelligence went, guys. Right? Machine learning, all those buzzwords. Is it working? This is the face detector. It's worked in the past, but the problem has been the background pulsing. Let's just is it pulsing? Check the letters. We just want it to work well enough that we can do useful vlogging without having to worry about it. And we like it to just basically work. So Lumix, have you done it? Is this working, denizens of the internet? So before I go on and test the other two lenses, I just want to quickly go over what the 2.0 firmware updates. And it's a lot of stuff. So expanded capability with Pro Photo wireless transmitters. I don't care. So improved autofocus performance, animal detect, which will be interesting. I should try it on my dog. Maybe not today, another day. Has been added to autofocus mode. It is possible to switch subject to focus by pressing the joystick in face, eye, body, animal detect mode. Oh, okay. Should I be pressing the joystick? I didn't think of doing that. So here we go. Direct focus area on. So there we go. So is it doing anything differently? I can see the little orange boxes floating around my head. Now it seems to be doing a much better job than in firmware 1.3. It's actually hugging my head really, really well. And it's not flopping around as much. Oh, did I try the box of nails test? So this is in face eye detect. Is it able to tell the difference between me and a box of nails? Hopefully, yes. Okay, so let's just keep going with this list. Night near shift. Oh, it has AF on near shift and AF on far shift. So you can give it the option of favoring close-up objects or favoring distant objects, which is quite cool. Focus peaking function is available on autofocus mode. It is possible to set continuous autofocus in the live view screen in creative video mode or in other video recording modes. Okay, enhanced video functions, 4K, 30p. Okay, so this is like all sorts of heavy-duty video stuff. It looks like they've upgraded the G9 to be a much more competent video camera. In fact, maybe the G9 could be the best all-round camera for photography and doing high-quality video. This is high-quality stuff. 4K, 60p, 422 10-bit using the HDMI output. That is serious stuff, man. VFR, variable frame rate. Maybe I'll try it. HDR video recording is supported, and that gives us more dynamic range. Vlog L recording. Now you have to still get the $100 US update, but that brings it on par with the capabilities of the GH5. Except the GH5 has all sorts of other video functionality, which I didn't need. The one thing that this firmware does not add is extended time recording. This is still limited. The G9 is still limited to 30 minutes, but what can you do? I used to use 20-minute tapes in my Betacam. Auto white balance W has been added to the W. I'll have to check what that is. Highlight weighting has been added to metering mode. Exposure offset adjust has been added to custom menu, which enables adjustment of the standard exposure value for all metering modes. There's going to be a test later. I hope you remembered that. 0.5 seconds has been added for the option of duration time photo. Oh, so if you take a picture and you just want it up for half a second, they've added that. So other improvements, AE can be locked with the AF AE lock button. Then when ISO auto is set to M mode. Couldn't do that. Manual mode couldn't do that before. So improved operational stability, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so none of this. Just check the site if it's important to you. I'm sure there's going to be other YouTube channels that will give you the entire list, but not me. So we're done with the 12 to 60. We're in face detect mode, the one that I hope to be using more often, if it does work, or I'm just going to have to go back to manual mode. We shall see. Now onto the 20 millimeter lens. The 20 millimeter, one area detect. How's it doing? How you doing? I just kicked the tripod. Box of nails test. Now this 20 millimeter, this is the torture test because the focusing motor on this lens is not as strong as the others. We'll see what the 2.0 upgrade does with this lens. Okay, that's nailed me. I can see that, yep, it's tracking me fine. How's it doing? On the focus. My 20 millimeter, trusty twisty, my trusty 20 millimeter. How you doing? Are you tracking? Is it pulsing? Check the text. Okay, the final test, the face detector. The last lens. Here we go. End of the testing. My gosh, this has been a long ordeal. Am I in focus? Is the background breathing? In focus me. Oh. The nail test. Close-up test, far-ish test. Next, the tracking test. Here's the little yellow square tracking me. Yes, I can see it's tracking me. Here you are. In my full glorious trackingness. How's it doing? Is it tracking me? It looks like it's tracking at least my forehead. Am I still in focus over here? Am I still in focus over here? Last test. Oh my gosh. The face detector. Here we are, finally, after this long, drawn-out ordeal, the final test. The final lens, the 15mm Leica with face, body, animal detect. Can it tell the difference between me and an animal? Does it think I'm a Shih Tzu? I don't know. Okay, so here I am. Is it detecting me? Can you tell whether the background is pulsing? Is it keeping me in focus? Is this finally the solution that we've all been waiting for? Of course, this is not an animal. It's a box of nails. But can it tell the difference? Can it suspend its disbelief and focus and then refocus on me, a human being with eyes? Am I in focus or is the background in focus? Ha ha! Did I catch you off guard? Super Focusing Deluxe Firmware Option 2.0? We shall see. Ha ha! Well, that's it. Thank you very much, denizens of the internet, for putting up with this extreme, arduous, but very important test. I look forward to taking all this footage, putting it on my computer, and seeing whether the 2.0 firmware is the holy grail of Lumix autofocusing solutions. Okay, I've had a chance to take a look at the footage, and I'm completely shocked. The firmware 2.0 update, absolutely game changer for anybody who is running at least a Lumix G9. I can't vouch for any of the other cameras. My understanding that the G9 actually has a better, faster processor than the GH5, and therefore better able to autofocus better. But that being said, anyone with a GH9, GH5S, GH5 should run. Don't stop and upgrade to firmware 2.0. It is a dramatic improvement, and the improvements are in places which I didn't really expect, actually. When I was doing the testing and pointing at the background when I was standing still to see whether it was pulsing, clearly it didn't have an issue with that. The issue that the autofocusing was having, especially with the face detect, was as it was trying to deal with all the micro adjustments that my face, the challenges of shooting my face represented, it was pulsating, in the background. There was a considerably reduced amount of hunting on focusing on my face, and therefore the pulsating of the background. Now, surprisingly, the tracking mode seemed to be almost rock solid. I still prefer face detect, but the tracking mode was a very good option, especially if the person's face continues to be on the screen. Then I think I would have no problem using that. The one area focus, which was always pretty solid, but again suffered from the hunting as my face would go in and out with the 1.3 firmware and earlier, that seems to be almost gone now with the 2.0. In fact, it has a very movie-like focus shifting quality. So if I'm shooting something and I want to pull focus, the one area is a pretty good option with the G9. I was very, very surprised. So the bottom line is, I'm not trying to use my camera for shooting a feature film, but when I'm vlogging, I want to make life as easy as possible for myself. And it looks like the 2.0 firmware just completely hits it out of the park. Congratulations, Lumix. Thank you. And thank you for, keeping on trying. You haven't left us alone. And that makes, I think, all of us Lumix G9, GH5, GH5S owners feel like you care. And You can't say anything better than that to a very large corporation. Till next time, denizens, so long.